Hey everybody, welcome to Grimsforge Gaming. Today we're going to be going over my green arrow. This is an Arcanist Bowman, and I like playing bow on a lot of different classes, and so let's see what green arrow looks like. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of different options for the build. I can show you what I'm running right now and tell you why, but I'm going to give you other options. First thing to note, I am running Pale Order. When I am doing damage to people, or if I'm running solo, or I'm running Infinite Archive, or I'm running the sewers, or I'm PvPing in general, having health coming in is great, and so Pale Order is the way. That said, you can make an argument for Wild Hunt, you can make an argument for Markin, you can make an argument for Death Dealer's Fate, and I can also show you how to do an Oakensoul build, Oakensoul with this build. I'm running Pale Order. Run whatever you want. Okay? The first set that we are running is Sithis Touch. Sithis Touch is a very underutilized set. If you rewind to a year or two ago, I did a werewolf build called the Alpha Predator, and you are not able to go in stealth on a werewolf. You can't crouch on a werewolf. This set allows me to go in stealth with a werewolf. Also, werewolves have a built-in 20 or 30% movement speed on top of the 100% movement speed that you get from this set. So we move very fast. And I'm stealthing for 3 seconds after every kill, which allows me to reposition. At 130% movement speed, 3 seconds is a very long time. It's hard to keep track of where that person goes, okay? So I'm running this and been having a lot of success with it. You can see that the 2 piece is max stam, the 3 piece is max mag, the 4 piece is weapon and spell damage, the 5 piece is when you kill an enemy you gain 5% movement speed for 30 seconds and become invisible for 3 seconds. That movement speed stacks up to 20 times, so 20 times 5 is going to be 100% movement speed. This thing is very fast, and I highly recommend for you to go to the Alpha Predator build that I'll link at the end of this, because my buddy Icy was running alongside me on another faction recording from his perspective, because I said, dude, this thing plays really fast and I'm hopping in and out of stealth. To me it looks like I'm hidden and only revealed for a second before someone else dies or something else dies, but what's it look like from your perspective? And so he ran along with me and he recorded. And then also, because he's on another faction, how easy is it for you to track me, know where I'm at, what room I'm at, where I'm going, or on the, in a BG, where am I? And because, like I said, 130% movement speed, 3 seconds of invisibility is a very long time. If I hit a invis pot during that time frame, or if I were a vampire on this, which I'm not a vampire on Green Arrow, but if you were a vampire, you could hit stealth or hit crouch during that 3 seconds and be completely gone and not even come out of stealth or hidden, right? And then reposition. So I've been having a lot of fun with this, okay? Next armor set that we paired that with is a Eternal Hunt. If you are a bowman on any other class other than a Nightblade, in my opinion, because I've played bow on them all, and I would have to say that I'm probably a bow expert, or I'm very well versed in the bow gameplay on every class. Eternal Hunt is the play on everything except for Nightblade. Nightblades can they have shadowy disguise and hop in and out of stealth. They can drop a shade, teleport to the shade, create distance. Nightblades already have these amazing fight resets or fight disengage abilities. The other classes do not have those, right? You can see where we're at on the battlefield. People can come get you, and you're going to have to box them or be able to fight them. Aside from what this brings to the equation, right? You put people away and you disappear. So, like a ninja. This is, hang on, Rotten. This Eternal Hunt right here will lay down a trap. You can see the 2-piece max stam, the 3 pieces stam recovery, the 4 pieces stam recovery. The stamina recovery is very important on a bow build because you do a lot of dodge rolling. Dodge rolling, or roll dodging, is my #1 damage mitigation source or ability to, and I'm running well fitted on everything except for my shoulders. I would run well fitted on my shoulders if I had them in well fitted, but I mitigate damage by dodge rolling and that damage missing me unless it's an area of effect damage, right? Also, if I'm in that type of scenario, I am out of position, especially when it comes to battlegrounds. I try and position myself out of the scrum or out of the fight and shoot into the fight, and then if somebody comes to me, I can decide if I want to take this as a 1v1 or make it a resource fight and kill them, okay? The 5-piece on this, when you roll dodge, you leave behind a rune that detonates when an enemy comes close, dealing 5k poison damage and mobilizing them for 1.5 seconds. This effect scales off the higher of your weapon and spell damage. This gives you a lot of options, right? Even if you're running an Oakensoul setup, so Magnum Shot makes its way onto your action bar, so you can hard stun them, you can stun them every 7 seconds. This armor set allows you to immobilize them every 4 seconds. And through the stunning and constant stunning and immobilizing of people, you will make it a resource fight. They're constantly having to break free, and then in the time frame that they're breaking free, they're also eating more damage, and they're having to recover from the damage that they took during the break freeze. Meanwhile, you're just running circles around them because you have 130% movement speed when you're at full stacks, and you're hopping in and out of stealth, and it's just a real pain to deal with, and that's really funny for me. That's a lot of fun. So, Eternal Hunt, if you are on any class other than a Nightblade, this is the play. You can see me running it on my Witcher as well, and how I utilize it. As an example of how just this armor set is problematic for people, if you get jumped on by a Nightblade, what I will do is dodge roll backwards through them, laying the trap on the ground where I was standing. I will then, now they're standing in front of me, I will Magnum Shot them into the trap, so they are stunned and immobilized. They have to break free of the stun and break free of the immobilization, and I'm already putting damage into them. Or I'm hitting my shield, hitting my heals, getting back to full, resetting the fight for me, okay? And so when a melee person jumps on me, that's the play for me. Dodge roll backwards through them, Magnum Shot them into the trap, and reset the fight. Decide if I want to take the fight, what we want to do. Okay. I have a 1-piece craw, and you can see I'm using that for the pen. Pen is very hard to come by on bow builds unless you are specifically building into pen through your 5-piece bonuses and stuff like that. Okay. So there is all that. Also, I am a 3-piece heavy, and then 4-piece medium, and I have prismatic enchants on everything except for these 2 pieces, which I forgot, and I should throw prismatic on those. Prismatic is the tri-stat enchant on there, and so that will probably get everything up. You do use mag on this as well as stam, okay? And I would say your health, I could probably in my attributes come off of stamina a little bit just to get my health up to the 30,000 or a little higher, but we're making it work right now, okay? Let's buff up here real quick. We're going to look at some stats here. Let's do this. 2,200 stam, almost 2,300 stam recovery, 1,600 mag recovery. We need those recoveries, and you can see our weapon damage is 4,620. Our weapon critical is a little low, but that's fine. We're basically just direct damaging, bursting, comboing people down. Our physical pen is 5,900. You can make an argument to come off the Warrior Mundus, which I have right now, for more weapon damage. If you wanted to go the Lover for more pen, I couldn't argue with you on that one bit. You can see that we have 29,000 resistances. We are a beefy boy. 29,000 is really nice on a bow build. You need that type of resistances right now because of armor sets like Tarnished, and you probably need to be over 30k because of Tarnished. And to be honest, I don't have crit resistance on this build, so I'm going to feel Tarnished when people hit me with that. And so, but the resistances that we have feel really nice. It gives me room for counterplay against things that that are counterplayable. So you're not going to counterplay the Nightblade that hits you with the Soul Tether right into the 26k spec bow from stealth, and they're wearing Tarnished. Most classes aren't going to survive that. So I'm not going to build into my impen on everything because my major damage mitigation is dodge roll. On the things that I can see, I'm going to try and avoid that damage, and I'm going to be dodge rolling to keep that major expedition and move around the battlefield to reposition to better vantage points more often. So that's the play for me. If you continually find yourself out of position, definitely run impen on everything until you start feeling better about that. Okay. We were jumping into the stats too. We talked about the stats. Let's look at one other thing here. Oakensoul, if you're running an Oakensoul setup, you're going to get all the major buffs that I'm applying for my back bar, right? And then your front bar will basically just look like this. Switch this out with Resolving Vigor, so that way you get access to Minor Resolve, and you'll get access to a pretty good sized hot. Okay, you'll have less burst heal potential, but Resolving Vigor still has a good tooltip on it, and you'll be able to recover with that. Don't forget that you have a heal coming in from this as well. So because we will regularly have 3 crux because we're not burning our crux on anything other than hitting the shield. So we will get that 3k times 3 heal, and so we'll get a good size heal from this, activating this, as long as we've been active in fights. And so that's the play if you're running Oakensoul on it. Run these exact armor sets or run Tarnished with Eternal Hunt, and make sure that you run this bar setup. Okay, you really only need a shield with a heal and then a hot with Minor Resolve from your Resolving Vigor, and then your bow ult, and that's enough to put people away. You'll no doubt find videos of me playing an Oakensoul Green Arrow in the future, so because that's my preferred play style. But right now we're leveling a lot of things still on our Green Arrow. So okay, another play that you can do is you can run a front bar back bar set up. So you would run on your back bar a 5-piece Sheer Venom, since our Poison Inject is on our back bar. And Sheer Venom, I'm pretty sure I have 2 pieces max stam, 3 pieces weapon and spell damage, 4-piece weapon and spell damage, 5-piece when you deal damage with an execute ability. You infect the enemy, dealing 4,700 poison damage over 6 seconds, and deal up to 100% more damage to enemies under 100% health. Most people you're fighting will be under 100% health, so they're going to take more damage from that poison injection and Sheer Venom. Okay, so if you want to have really good opening pressure on somebody with the chance to execute them while your poison inject is running, then run 5-piece Sheer Venom back bar. Front bar could be whatever you want, Tarnished or whatever. Okay, and when you run a 5-piece back bar and a 5-piece different front bar, that allows you to run a mythic and a 2-piece monster set. In that moment you can run a 2-piece Balorgs or Balors, so you'll get a bunch of extra weapon and spell damage and pen every time you ult, and that's a pretty significant extra pen and ult, considering our ult is pretty high. This one's 200 ult, and this is 175 ult. So both of our ults have a pretty high cost, so that Balors is gonna do you good. Okay, so that would be one play. If you're accustomed to a front bar back bar setup, run that. Okay, so that's your options, right? I definitely always say stay with Eternal Hunt, and then you're mixing either utility sets or you're mixing damage sets. And I would say that the Sith's Touch is a utility set. Even though the 4-piece has weapon and spell damage, you're not getting extra weapon and spell damage from the 5-piece. You're getting utility, major mobility, and stealth mechanics, right? To make you very slippery or slick to try and track or catch, okay? Whereas Tarnished is absolute 110% damage, right? It's 2-piece, 3-piece, and 4-piece all crit, and then the 5-piece, when you do critical damage, you drop a nuclear missile on their forehead. And so Tarnished would be the play if you want all that damage. Now that said, if you're not staying alive on this build or this play style, or you don't stay alive in PvP long enough for it to matter anyways, you have to weigh, do I go with Tarnish or do I go with a utility based something that'll keep me alive longer so I can get better at the play style, okay? Yes, having nuclear capabilities at the touch of a finger is great, but if you're spending all your time back at respawn and running back to the fights in battlegrounds and less time killing people, Tarnish is doing nothing for you, okay? So that's a bunch of different options on that. Let's jump into the CP here real quick. Nothing with me is real quick, by the way. We spent a lot of time explaining a bunch of stuff to you. I am not a vampire on this, and so I have to account for that in my CP. I account for that in my CP with the sustained shadows, reducing the cost of sneak by 50%, okay? Because I'm not a vampire, I don't get the vampire passives that allow me to hop in and out of stealth very quickly by hitting crouch. So if you want to run this playstyle and be a vampire, that's great. Good for you, do that. Green Arrow's not a vampire, and so I have to do this. The thing about it is when I dodge roll and I'm moving at major expedition and I have the 100% movement speed from full stacks with the Sith's Touch, I'll burn a lot of stamina moving around very quickly. I cover a lot of ground, and so I need that stamina reduction, because there will be times where I will dodge roll, kill somebody, and I'll hit the 3-second stealth window for Sith's Touch, and while I'm in stealth I'll hit crouch, so I go hidden and keep moving, and now I'm sneaking, but I'm also moving at 130% movement speed while sneaking, and so you can burn through a lot of stamina. So this is needed if you're not vampire. Another thing that's needed if you're not vampire is the reduced movement speed penalty of sneak by 25%. You get a passive that gives you this if you are a vampire and you don't need that. So there that is. I can tell you the two staples though, okay? Steed's Blessing, it's an extra 20% movement speed out of combat, and when I'm out of combat and I'm repositioning to a better vantage point or looking for fights, this is the play. Also, I use Rationer because I use Smoke Bear Haunch, and Smoke Bear Haunch is very, very expensive, and so I need an extra 30 minutes or more if you get some passives on my expensive food. Now, if you spend any amount of time in Cyrodiil, if you love Cyrodiil PvP and that's the play for you, you should probably run this, and these two right here, War Mount and Gifted Rider, because Cyrodiil is a mount simulator and you have to ride very far all the time or ride back to fights, and so these are the play for you right there. I think I have this one just because I was out getting Sky Shards because I leveled this guy during the EXP event. Moving on. Blue Tree, this is a staple. Untamed Aggression, 150 weapon and spell damage. This is a staple. An extra 205 weapon and spell damage. And you can make an argument for Master at Arms for direct damage, because everything that I do on this class is direct damage outside of the dot that my ultimate applies, right? The bow ult applies a 30k dot, and that 30k dot is buffed through Thaumaturge, okay? I'm not worried about that. Sometimes people cleanse that and it becomes a non-factor anyways, okay? So this is a must. This is a must. And after farming Telvar, running Ethereum Archive and stuff like that, and running Pale Order, I found that I had to worry about self-heals a lot less because I'm very offensive on this, and Pale Order was doing me wonders. Well, this right here. When you deal direct damage, you heal for 7% of the damage done. Well, all of my abilities are direct damage, so now I'm healing myself for more. And so I stumbled across this or started utilizing this in PvE, and it just kind of stuck. And so I like that extra healing. The other thing that I have is if you go in here, Weapon Expert, increase your damage done with light and heavy attacks by 20%. Every time I hold my rotation, every time I hold a snipe or lethal arrow or steady aim, I'm holding heavy attack. I'm releasing the heavy attack the same time the snipe looses, so that way my weapon enchant, my snipe, and my heavy attack all hit at once. Okay, now my heavy attack hits 20% harder, and your heavy attack is one of the best ways for you to put stamina back in the tank, because you're mitigating damage so much with dodge rolls, and you don't want to run. Like, I have an internal alarm go off in my head that if I hit like 40% stamina, I need to channel a little bit more heavy attacks. Maybe I don't go through with my entire rotation, and I'm maintaining pressure on the target using my crux, my rune blades, which are a magic expense for me, but I'm maintaining pressure. You know what? I think that I changed that even. Let's look. Stamina expense now. It's just a lesser expense, I guess. Yeah. So I'll just channel heavy attacks and then just try and run and gun and get stamina back into the tank. Anyways, it doesn't change the fact that that's how we're getting stamina back in the tank, is channeling the heavy attacks. So, Weapons Expert ended up being the play for me. Also, this is really good for werewolves because you light and heavy attack a lot. So look at that if you're a werewolf. So this one for sure. This one for sure. I started running this one and I like it, and on this particular bill I'm running the Weapons Expert within there. You can make an argument for this. That's an extra 6% damage on all your direct damage, or you can add an extra 20% damage on your heavy attacks, light and heavy attacks, and make your heavy attacks really thump, and that was a play for me. Another thing that you can make an argument for is Occult Overload. So when you kill a target, it explodes for almost 5,200 extra damage in a 4-meter radius. You can make an argument for that, especially if you're running Infinite Archive and you have a tank with you and they're stacking up all the mobs. Okay? Alright. These are usually staples for me on a lot of things. Rarely do I deviate from it. But anyways, Rejuvenation. We're going to need extra recoveries because we're fighting outnumbered a lot of the times, or we're just trying to survive some of the things that are in the game right now. And Fortified. We need extra armor. The whole reason I run as a Nord is so I get the sturdy passive, racial passive from them, more armor, and Fortified gives me even more armor. So that's how I'm at 29,000 resistances. There will be someone in the comments that says, how the heck do you have your resistances so high? And they miss the fact that I'm a Nord and I'm running Fortified in my CP. Boundless Vitality, that extra health is very important. Hit the 30k threshold, which we haven't on this guy, and I can move some things around to do it. As soon as it becomes an issue and I'm just getting globaled over and over again, I'll mess with it, but right now we're able to hang. But Boundless Vitality is important, and you get extra health right here. And then you have options. If you are getting dotted down, you're getting a bunch of dots or damage over time effects put on you, run Pain's Refuge. That's an extra 20% damage mitigation. Okay, we don't have a class cleanse or purge or anything like that, and so if you get any type of negative effect on you, this is nice. Okay, right now I am running Celerity though for an extra 10% movement speed. Okay. You could also run Thrill of the Hunt. Whenever you kill an enemy, you gain Major Expedition for 3 seconds, increasing your movement speed by 30%. This goes up to 6 seconds of Major Expedition after killing a target. So if you're farming Imperial City Sewers, farming for Telvar and stuff, and killing a bunch of NPCs, you could save yourself the dodge roll to get Major Expedition from the bow passive and just run Thrill of the Hunt, and you'll get Major Expedition every time you kill something. You'll be moving around in Major Expedition, indefinitely. Okay, that's the play. Um, but if your kill rate and putting people away, like in battlegrounds, is a little sporadic or less, that's not the play for you. It would be just, well, not in a battleground. We'll say Cyrodiil because battlegrounds you don't get any of the CP. But in Cyrodiil, if you're putting people away less regularly than you would like, this isn't going to benefit you, right? It's going to be the 10% movement speed from celerity constantly that's going to benefit you, and then just throw a dodge roll in there as well. Okay. So that's the play for me, is those three and then celerity, but you can make an argument for something different. You could probably even make an argument for bigger shield sizes and cost reduction, whatever. That's the play. Mobility, speed is king. Okay, that is my CP. Let's look at something here real quick. We're going to talk about the abilities, and then we're going to talk about the style. Okay. Focused aim, very small tooltip when you got Nightblades running around with a 26,000 spec bow tooltip, and I've got a measly 8100 focused aim. Okay, but we compound or stack a bunch of damage on top of one another. That's how we line up our rotation. And so, like we said, we hold heavy attack while our focused aim is going, and you'll see our weapon enchant, our focused aim, and our heavy attack all hit at once. And then I immediately go into a magnum shot and let loose the rune blades. So hopefully all three of those hit. Pop, pop, pop. Okay. It's very easy to build up to 3 Crux on this build because I'm not expending Crux. I'm building Crux with this, and then the only time that I spend Crux is when I cast my shield or if I use this heal. I use this heal as a last resort, usually throw heals to someone else, not necessarily myself, because with 3 Crux I get a really good size heal when I cast this shield. Not only is it like almost a 10k shield at the start, it's almost a 10k heal when I have 3 Crux, right? You can see right here, heal on at the very last paragraph, consume Crux to heal yourself for 3,000 health, scales off your max health per Crux spent. So I'm spending 3 Crux, that's 9k, and let's say it ends up being 5k because of Battle Spirit or whatever. I've actually seen this hit for 10k, but that heal, I've seen that heal full heal me after getting jumped on just by hitting my shield, and boom, full health and time to fight. Okay, so Evolving Rune Mend. I like Evolving Rune Mend because I can heal other people from it. If you don't want to run this, or you're running an Oakensoul setup, put Resolving Vigor here, so you get access to minor resolve and you get a good size hot. I think my hot on that is like a 20k hot, and if we assigned our CP differently, we could get that much, much higher. Okay, and we're running Toxic Barrage. It's got a 60k tooltip, probably more than that if we buff up. And then it's got 30,000 dot damage coming in over 8 seconds. This thing shreds werewolves. That's a lot of fun to hit a werewolf with a magnum shot right into one of these, and they're spending a lot of time having to try and dodge, roll back and forth, which doesn't look like a dodge roll on a werewolf. It's just like a jukey sidestep type thing. Anyways, they spend a lot of time doing that, or just straight hold and block, right, to try and mitigate the damage from this. But Toxic Barrage is the play for me. Another important thing about that is you can move at full speed and are immune to all disabling effects while channeling this attack. If you have full stacks on your Sithis Touch and you're moving at 100% movement speed, you dodge roll, get Major Expedition, kill someone, and you got Celerity for an extra 10% movement speed. But anyways, you start channeling this, you can run circles around them, basically. Literally just zoom around shooting people with this, and they can't catch you. Okay, they might try and gap close to you, but they can't stun you while you're doing it. Okay, so that's been a lot of fun. On our back bar, we're running Poison Injection. We'll move around on our back bar. If I get jumped and chunked for health, I'll hit a bubble, burn my ult just to save myself, but we'll move around like that. Poison Injection's really nice. It's dot damage, it's an execute, and it's nice. We're running currently Runic Embrace. You can switch this out with a couple different things, but I've been running this because it does some damage, it does some healing, and it applies minor lifesteal. So as this is ticking, I'm getting health coming in, and it applies minor maim to the target, so they're going to do less damage to me. And in a PvE scenario, it taunts, and I'm pretty darn tanky on this. I can face tank or front tank dungeons, no problem, or banners or Moloch Ball or whatever on this, district bosses. So me taunting things is no big deal. We're running Inspired Scholarship, which is our access to major brutality, major sorcery here. Also, it does a little bit of extra damage sporadically every 3 seconds. So a little extra damage here and there. Crux Weaver armor is my access to major resolve. So we have major and minor resolve on this. That's how we buff our armor so high, and we apply minor breach to a target whenever they attack us. We're running Resolving Vigor, and we're running Sanctum of the Abyssal Sea, which gives me a huge damage shield, gives me a lot of counterplay if I didn't get globaled at the start from a Nightblade using Soul Tether into a 26k spec bow into a tarnished whatever. Like, let's balance our game, people. Okay. Not that that's ever happened to me before. Let's go over here to Outfit Station. Outfit right now, we're running the Abaz Watch shoulder pieces. We're running the Grim Harlequin gloves. And we are running the Mercenary Breeches. We're running the Silken Ring Jack. We're running Redguard Sash 3, Mercenary Shoes, and the bow we're using is Symphony of Blades. I think that Green Arrow uses like a compound bow, something not nearly this fancy. So if I ever get like a compound bow type skin, I'll probably switch over to that. And then as far as our hood, this is actually a hat collected Society Domino mask, and I don't even know where I got it from, but I do remember seeing it and going, that's for Green Arrow, because I couldn't find anything that had a hood and just a mask piece that you could still see over it. It was just like a mask piece, and I was like, that's my Green Arrow hood. So this is my Green Arrow. Gameplay on him is a lot of fun. He plays very fast with the current setup that I have. I don't need the extra damage necessarily to put people away, and if I feel like I'm having to work on people a little bit longer, I just make it a resource fight by stunning them every 7 seconds and immobilizing them every 3. And if they're able to handle the resource fight, then I'm chewing on the wrong person. I just go find somebody else, especially in Battlegrounds or Cyrodiil. There's at least 50 other people I could go kill. I don't have to stay here and try and fight this person, okay? And I'm pretty darn fast on this. So if they want to try and keep up with me, by all means, try and keep up with me. But you know, as I'm dodge rolling and you're hitting my immobilizations and I'm turning around and magnum shotting you and, you know, going to find someone else to play with because you're running some silly, broken, unkillable thing right now, okay? Balance our game. Okay. That's our Green Arrow. That's a lot of fun. If in the comments, I'll be sure, like if you want to see what it looks like from the perspective of Icy, who was running alongside me on the Alpha Predator Werewolf, watch the video that I link here at the end, and you can see what it looks like going in and out of stealth on the Werewolf. This armor set, that's how it functions. And on a bow build, you know, you're at ranged already moving around, so it's just really hard to track and kill. But anyways, watch that video that I'm linking at the end. Also, if you'd like to see Oakensoul in play, if you'd like to see Battlegrounds being Oakensoul Battlegrounds on this, let me know. I'm still leveling the class. I'm still leveling a lot of things on this, and I'm out here PvPing with it. It's so much fun. But look at this, 41, 46. I think even my medium armor. So my stats are going to get better, you know, as I get more stuff. I just need to go around and get more sky shards. I literally only have 18 sky shards, and we're able to pull this build off and make it viable, and I'm like doing really well with it. So, but this isn't my first bow build. So that's all we got. Thanks. Bye.